all these artists, primarily the singers are called the artists, the performing artists. Are they involved in the process of songwriting as well?
More so now than before. Before you had your singer-songwriters, that was like a genre. And then you had your sort of pop stars. And the pop stars, some of them wrote songs sometimes, some of them didn't. If you even go back to like Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jackson wrote some of his songs, but then Rod Temperton and other people wrote other songs like Thriller and Off the Wall and stuff like that. So nowadays, it's changed where a lot of artists want to write, even if they're not songwriters, they at least want to be a part of the process, so they have their voice in there. We can debate if that's always good or bad, depends on the artist, because then you have to deal with another person's taste. And it's like being an actor, right? If you're a great actor, it doesn't mean you're a great screenwriter. It's different skill sets. There's the Ed Sheerans of the world, Weeknds, Ariana, Taylor Swift, there's people like that who are amazing songwriters as well as they are singers and performers. But then there's some that are not, and you just have to, it's a personal thing whether you want the artist in the room, if you want to work with an artist that doesn't really write, and that's the struggle, I think, for songwriters in the West, is that, the industry has sort of shifted things where in India, I think the composer is quite celebrated in a sense. Like the public knows this is this person's song, this is great, right? And I think in the US, the songwriters in the pop business, the songwriters are sort of on purpose meant to be hidden because it's a fantasy that they want the pop stars to be in front, and they want the pop stars, they're the celebrities, and they want the audience to believe what the pop stars are singing are coming from them, not from a bunch of people in the studio. And so it's a different, I guess, mindset, of how the audience is conditioned to understand it.
I think a lot of my myths are getting busted today.
Yeah.
Because we always thought the other way around.
Yeah.
We thought that the composer and lyricists in India are not that celebrated like they're celebrated in the West, but maybe it's my lack of knowledge.
We're the bottom of the totem pole. It shouldn't be, because everything is built off the song. And that's the fight that American songwriters and songwriters in the West are continually fighting.
In fact, I was surprised when I saw your Spotify profile yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw that the songs which you have done, there are more than 10 songs which has more than 1 billion streams.
Yeah.
Streams, not even YouTube music. Spotify streams, more than 1 billion streams. And if you actually get a credit on all those songs, then you will be one of the most heard artists in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, your songs are so popular and they are being streamed every day. But none of the songs you have a credit.
Yeah.
And in fact, on YouTube, I went to all the songs.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention anything apart from the name of the artist.
Yeah.
Like in India, we have a culture that we mention everybody's name, especially on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's everything. Who's edited, who's the manager, composer, producer, the one who's played the guitar. We credit everyone on the YouTube. And obviously YouTube, on the main credit, there are only 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
But apart from singer, the composer and the lyricist have also started getting the credit. Earlier, they didn't used to get credit.
Yeah.
Then the composer started getting the credit. Now on Spotify as well, you always generally have a composer and lyricist as the main artist.
Wow.
So if you open your Spotify app and you name any composer or lyricist in the country, you will see that they have 10 million monthly listeners, 20 million monthly listeners, or 5 million monthly listeners, because they're tagged as the main artists on that. And I was actually shocked and surprised. We thought, we were always thinking of the Western market to be more fair to the artists, composer, writers, because we always knew about the royalty, because that's definitely they are fair in that way.
Yeah.
The composer owns the rights and stuff like that. Also, maybe the market is so big because the Indian market, including publishing and master of all contents released in India, is about, I think, $400 million, $500 million at the max.
Wow.
But whereas the the Western market is huge.
Yeah.
And that's where we draw the comparison and we think about. But I realize after listening to you and after seeing these things, that in terms of treatment of artists, our market is fair compared to the Western
Yeah, I would say in that sense, it's definitely fair. Like when I go back and I start telling people that about like the artist, because I don't even know who made my artist, because I don't, the way you're conditioned in American business is you're not the artist, you're the songwriter. The artist is the person who sings the song. Those things are very separate. They can do live shows, they get their own artist stream because they're the stars, because it's a celebrity culture. So it's, the 40-something-year-old songwriter writing words and melodies to an Ariana Grande song, the public doesn't want to see that. They want to see Ariana Grande, and they want to believe, they want the artist to be the front of it, because it's such a youth culture, celebrity culture thing that drives popular music. And I think in film, and I wonder if it's because it's film music so much here. So a lot of Americans will know, for example, who John Williams is, who does like the Steven Spielberg scores and a lot of the massive classic movie scores in the West. A lot of people will understand who John Williams is. But with pop songwriting, the average person will not know who, unless they're a fan and they look, unless they're a music person, like the people in this podcast are interested in music, then they'll look who wrote songs.
True.
But historically, it's not in the interest of the American music business to put the songwriter up front, because they own the artist's rights. They want to make live shows with the artist. They want to do brand stuff with the artist. And if the songwriters are part of that, it's not the same thing they can market, right?
I think because we don't get money as composers and lyricists, we don't own the rights at all. In the films, not at all.
Yeah.
In the independent space, now people own the rights.
Yeah.
And even if you own the rights, the numbers are so low in India still. Maybe that's why we are being compensated by giving the
because will they get artist royalties as well?
Yes, but the royalties are very small.
Okay.
See, understand the whole market is small.
Yeah, no, understood. That's what I'm learning so far.